Hello everybody, my name is Zool and welcome to another video. Freecam in Knights of the Old Republic. I can't count the number of threads and comments I've seen about people wishing it were possible. And as you may have guessed by the title of this video, it is using a program called GL Intercept. However, it has taken me a while to figure out exactly how to get this program working in the context of Kotor, because there's just been so many problems and there's just such a lack of documentation and information on the internet. But luckily for you, I have a wonderful tutorial here on how to get this piece of software. For now, I'm going to link in the description to a page on deadlystream.com where you can go ahead and download GL Intercept, including a couple of little easy presets. This tutorial is going to show you how to configure it on your own, however, so without further ado, let's get started. Once you've downloaded GL Intercept, drag the executable to your desktop and then double click on it to begin the installation process. From here, just go ahead, hit next, agree to the licensing agreement, hitting next, and then you're going to get to the select destination area. I like to change this because I've had some problems installing certain programs into program files x86, but your mileage may vary. In this case though, I'm going to go ahead and install this in my D drive in a folder called Utilities. And as you can see here, it's going to create its own folder called GL Intercept. I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to hit Next. It'll only take a few moments to install, and it's going to launch the README when it does. I'd recommend taking a quick look at this because it is very important and contains a lot more information that's going to be covered in this video. Now that we have done that, however, we can go ahead and navigate ourselves along to the folder we just created. So in this case, it is D Utilities GL Intercept 133. So we're gonna have a folder that looks like this. And I'm just gonna go ahead and drag that over to the side. And then I'm gonna go ahead and create a new folder. This new folder doesn't need a name, we're just using it as kind of a work folder so that we can get everything organized and set up. Now this is a tutorial for Freecam, so that's all I'm gonna be covering here, but there is a lot of other important things you can do. So to begin with, we're gonna need to collect all the different files from here that we need to put in our Kotor directory, starting with OpenGL32.dll. Select this file, drag and drop it right over here. This is a very important file because the program won't work without it. After that, find gli config_freecam.ini and go ahead and drag that over into this folder as well. Once that's been dragged over here, select it and hit F2 to rename the folder. And then we're just going to get rid of this _freecam part because that's not necessary, and these are just different presets that come with this file, and that's the Freecam preset. So it's just a modified version of the ini, so if we get rid of that, it will just act like the normal ini file. Finally, we need to go to the plugins section. We're going to open up plugins, and then we're going to go to the GL Freecam folder. In here is the actual settings for the Freecam, and we're going to go ahead and change those before we do anything else. So we're going to right click on glconfig.ini and we're going to hit edit. You can also edit it with Notepad++, but I'm just going to go ahead and hit edit. From here we will get a text folder that looks something like this. It contains a lot of useful information, and it also contains some very confusing information. But this is the place that we're going to be able to change the hotkeys. So by default, the enable key is Control-Shift-C. This is how to toggle Freecam on and off. If you scroll down a little bit further, you are going to get this move speed section. Now this part's very important because by default, the camera moves very, very fast. So we're going to go ahead and change this. I'm going to set this to 10, and I'm going to set this to 0.2. And then this is the camera move speed modifier. So when you hold shift, it's going to multiply everything by 10, and I'm just going to leave that as it is. Going down a little bit further, the camera movement keys. Now we definitely need to change these because by default in Kotor, I, K, J, and L, I believe, all do various different things, and you'll end up accidentally opening up menus every time you try and use Freecam. So we're just going to delete these and replace it with these values. I am going to have a copy of this ini available for download if you're concerned, but I think it's important to show you exactly how this works. Then it's going to ask you what the standard WASD controls are, which we're just going to leave exactly where they are. This is the pitch, which we can also leave. This allows you to tilt and angle the camera. And then there's a couple of other little things here, but we're just going to go ahead and ignore most of those. We're going to hit File and we're going to hit Save. and then close this. And then we're going to copy this over here. One very important thing to note about these ini files is if you download ini files posted by someone else and you've installed your program in a different location than the default, you could run into problems. And that's because there is a little area where it aims towards your GL intercept in the glconfig ini file. It sounds a little bit confusing, but I'll explain it. If, for example, you download my presets or somebody else has presets for GL intercept on the internet, you need to go to your GLI config ini, hit edit, scroll down just a little bit until you reach this line here, which says base directory. And you just need to change this to wherever your GL intercept is installed. Since mine is in D utilities GL intercept 133, I need to put that, and then I need to have this /XSL available. But if yours is in, for example, C program files, whatever, you need to have that say that there. So that's just a really common fix, and will solve a lot of issues when people try and share around different config inis. Okay, so now that we have these working files here, we need to go ahead and open up our Star Wars Kotor folder. This can be found at Steam Apps Common, SW Kotor, or I'll put the locations on screen here, I'm sure. Then we need to select all three of these files and drag them not into the override, but into the same folder as the swkotor.exe. And now we can go ahead and launch the game and take a look to see if everything worked. You can test whether or not GL intercept is working from this main screen right here. In order to do this, hit Control, Shift, and C at the same time, and then assuming you've changed your hotkeys correctly, like I did in the tutorial, just hit the down arrow and it will move everything like this. You can test the speed of your modifier by hitting Shift. You'll notice it goes way faster because it's going, I think, 10 times faster. And there you go. Now, if, for example, you think this is a little bit fast, like perhaps I want some really slow panning shots, all we have to do is go back to the config section, which I'm going to cover shortly. Okay, so let's say, for example, you found the movement of Freecam too fast. How do we go about changing it? Go to your Programs, Utilities, GL Intercept folder, or wherever you have it installed. Open up the Plugins tab. From here, go to Freecam, and you'll once again meet this config.ini, which we are once again going to edit. We are then going to scroll down to the section where it controls camera movement speed, and just to make the speed difference really noticeable, I'm going to set it to 1. I am then going to save, and then launch the game once again. Once the game's launched back up, you will notice the changes have taken effect pretty much immediately, and if they haven't, you've done something wrong. Either you haven't copied the folder, or you haven't followed the instructions properly. Leave a comment if there's an issue with that. Speaking of comments, I'm actually very curious as to what people are going to be using GL Intercept for in Kotor. So if you have some sort of project you're working on or anything like that, leave a comment down below telling us what it is, because I am very interested. Anyway, that's about it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Hopefully I'll deal with this echo that's been driving me crazy over the past week or so. I've been Zool, and I hope that you have an excellent day.